In fact, that's it. Fear of failure. Remember also where I came from?
Yes.
I was daddy's girl, and in fact, my dad used to brag, my daughter is so clever. So I had this fear of failure. But my boss looked at me. Of course, the first thing they asked you, what are you going to do? I explained to them. They thought, Monique, are you crazy? Again, the HR manager then, I remember her calling me to her office, talking to me. I'm making the wrong decision. They were telling me, at your age, it's too late to change your career.
Hi and welcome to The Peculiar People. My name is Victor. Today we are in part 2 of Monique's story. She's been taking us through her journey in her almost 30-year career, going through different jobs, different bosses, and today we are in for another part of her story. This is part 2. If you missed part 1, I invite you to check out the link in the description below. It'll take you to part 1. But if you're in part 2, we are getting into this.
And for me, it was it. This was my turning point. And coincidentally, at that same point, as the program came to an end, they were looking for salespeople to go market the program. I just thought to myself, this is it, Monique. Of course, being a Christian, I prayed about it. I remember. In fact, I still remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah, the Lord confirming to me, yes, it's the right decision through Psalms 121. We're having a session at the Lillian Towers. And it took me a week, after which I went and tendered my resignation.
After a week?
After a week.
That may seem fast for some people. I mean, some people take time before they make such a significant change. And I guess what I want to ask here is, for someone who may ask, how did you know that was God?
No, remember, I've been praying. After the program came to an end, okay, let me just correct something. After the 3 months program, there was an opportunity for you to become what you used to call a graduate assistant. So a graduate assistant was somebody who had completed the program, but would come and work with the instructor to help him just do the logistics of planning for the classes, yeah, and then calling the participants to find out how they're doing, how they're progressing. So during this time, as I'm doing my graduate assistantship, that's when in my heart I'm thinking, this is it. I seem to enjoy what I'm doing here more than what I'm doing at my 8 to 5 job. So the prayer was over a period of time. But then it's after I got the confirmation from Psalm 121, a week later is when I tendered my resignation.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember of course, I've attended interviews on this other end. I've passed, and they've told me I can become a sales rep,
yeah,
if I could call it that, or a salesperson. But there was there's a title we used to have. I can't remember now. But my boss looked at me. Of course, the first thing they asked you, what are you going to do? I explained to them. They thought, Monique, are you crazy? Again, the HR manager then, I remember her calling me to her office, talking to me. I'm making the wrong decision, and actually rescinded. Yeah, I withdrew my resignation. But for 3 months, I was still unsettled. And then 3 months down the line, we got a new MD from South Africa. And he got wind of what I had done. So one time, as we're just chatting, I explained to him, he wanted to understand, what is this I hear you had resigned? I explained to him, and I told him, imagine I think I need to make that decision again. And we had a long chat. I don't know whether he was just saying it to please me, but I remember him telling me, Monique, you know what? I also made a decision like you, but I don't regret it. Follow your heart. If it doesn't work, come back. I will give you back your job. That's what gave me confidence. Yeah. And this time round, I resigned without turning back. Yeah. So joined Dale Carnegie as a salesperson, selling Dale Carnegie program, still doing my graduate assistantship. But as I'm doing that, my boss then encouraged some of us to further develop our career. So I remember we went to the US, we got trained, and that's when I became a trainer. Yeah. So came back and became a Dale Carnegie trainer and trained most of the Dale Carnegie programs. In fact, one of the other programs that I trained then, with the support of one of our very good instructors then, a gentleman who was called Polycarp Igathe. Also, I remember him challenging me, and I trained a program, leadership training for managers. And for me, I was like, yes, this is it. And I grew, but unfortunately, something happened to the Dale Carnegie as an organization. We had to close shop. And but because then I'd been known as a trainer, Mater Hospital were looking for a training officer. Because of my networks, that's how I got that job. Yeah.
So no application?
No application as such, although I was still asked to apply. Yeah, it was like sort of headhunted, but still asked to apply. Went through interviews, but then I was successful. Yeah, and then now that was the beginning of my HR career, because as in Mater Hospital then, as a manpower and training officer, I had a very good boss, in fact, two very good bosses. They're the ones who mentored me, trained me to become not just a trainer, but a HR practitioner. In fact, some of my friends were shocked when I went to do my higher national diploma, because for the longest time, people used to call me, Monique, what do I do? How do I do this? Because I got good mentorship from my bosses. Yeah. And that was now my growth in the HR space. Yeah. So from Mater Hospital, I joined Safaricom, where I worked not for long, after which I joined housing finance, still in the HR space, until 2015, when I decided now I need to go to full-time business, yeah, as a trainer. But as I was walking through that journey, I met somebody I had met, that's in 2015. I met a lady called Eileen Lasker, yeah, who had introduced me to coaching, like I think 7 or so years back. But then I'm thinking, coaching? What's coaching? But she interested me and told me, Monique, you remember our discussion? I told her, oh yes, I remember a discussion. Now see where you'd have been had you done the coaching then. Yeah. So she challenged me and went to do my coaching with CDI Africa. That was, I think I did my coaching, I did my training to become a coach in 2016. So did that, then later, but as much as I did that training, I still continued offering HR consultancies and a bit of training, which is still my passion, training. Until 2020, during the COVID, this lockdown period, all clients, because of COVID, we cannot, so everything seemed to be closing. But then another opportunity arose. In the midst of closure, there were coaching opportunities that came up. And to me, I realized this is it. In fact, now when I look back in retrospect, 20 years ago, as I resigned, to go and sell the Dale Carnegie program, I'm thinking, this is it. My journey actually began then. But I'm getting to realize this is the space to be 20 years later. You may look at it as wasted time, but to me, I say it gives me credibility when I tell people it's not too late, one, to change your career. And by the way, maybe I could also mention something. The reason why the HR person thought I was making a wrong decision is because at the time I was changing my career, I was not young. So they were telling me, you don't change careers at this time of your life, number one. They were telling me, at your age, it's too late to change your career. But I thank God for this MD, because he opened up my mind and made me pursue what I was passionate about. And to date, I don't regret. I don't regret having made that decision. The only regret I have is that I should have believed in myself more. It's still a journey, I'm walking, but now I'm more confident I'm in the right space. And now I'm more confident I need to pursue coaching as a career. The need is there, and it's something I love, and
What are some of the fears that you can say were holding you back, or made you not believe in yourself, throughout your career journey?
I think that is just self-inflicted fear. And also I think part of it is my personality. You want to do things, but now I'm learning this thing of being a perfectionist. You want to do things in a certain way. But since things are not working, instead of even taking that first step, you retract because you want to do things perfectly. But I've learned, and I'm still learning, it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, that's it. Fear of failure. Remember also where I came from?
Yes.
I was daddy's girl, and in fact, my dad used to brag, my daughter is so clever. So I had this fear of failure. Failure was not a vocabulary in my life, but I've realized failure is part of life. The only difference is that when you fail, what do? Do you learn from it, or do you allow it to take you back? For the longest period of my life, I allowed fear of failure to hold me back. So I would say that's it. Actually, that's it. I still have it, not that I've changed, but I've seen a lot of change. Even what I'm doing now, I can assure you, 5 years ago, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. Because I'm thinking, what would so-and-so think when they see me? What if I don't do it right? What if I say the wrong thing? But I realized human beings are infallible. We fail. We are not perfect. Only God is perfect. So learn from your mistakes. So that's one of the things I'm learning.
Okay. So we are, celebrating, just the journey of your career. 25 years is not a short time. What would you say are some of the low moments in your career that gave birth to other opportunities?
For me, actually, I would say over the years, one, I've had very good bosses when I look back, even Brookside. In fact, then I had my immediate boss, and then Muhoho Kenyatta himself. In fact, he's one of the people who molded me. I'm not so sure he would know that, but in a way he did. He used to set for us very high targets, yeah? And for him, it was like, no excuses. You have to meet your targets. Eh? In fact, I still remember one time he had set for me a sales target to sell cream, yeah? And I was so excited because I'd surpassed my targets. You know how you think, yeah. Then as we are reviewing my targets, he tells me, no, I think we made wrong. You should have seen me. But then he made me there's something he said that made me realize, which to date, even when I'm training, I use that example. You need to understand the cycle of your products. Yeah. Even when I went into the banking sector, you need to understand, because the time I surpassed my targets, we came to discover it was during the high season. During high season, hotels do a lot of baking and all that stuff. That's why I surpassed my target. Not that, of course I think I worked because I went out looking for that market. But in retrospect, the opportunity was already there. All that I needed was to knock the door. Not that I went really overboard. Yeah, so that's something I learned. To date, I still remember that. Then, of course, Dale Carnegie, I also had a very good boss. She's the one who challenged me, even encouraged me to go for the training in the US. And I'm glad I listened to her, because that also molded me to being who I am today, developed my self-confidence, it enhanced my communication skills. I used to be a very shy person. I say that and some people don't believe, but that helped me. And of course, even the different organizations that I've worked in the HR space, I had very good bosses. From Mata, Safaricom, Housing Finance, they trained me well. That when I was going to do my HR certification, because of the change of legislation within the HR space, many people were shocked. You mean you don't have HR papers? Yeah, in fact, I remember we also tried to lobby then with the institute, but they said, no, you still have to go back. I'm glad I went back, because even having a certificate is good. So like I've said, I've had good bosses, but my last boss, now I can laugh, then it was not a laughing matter. And I said, no, I'm okay. But the turmoil that was in me was too much. Of course, I started looking for jobs. I got called for interviews. But somehow, I would not go past salary negotiations.